Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and we've got some good news. Now, I alluded to this at the end of the last video when I talked about the falling membership numbers, and that is indeed what we're going to discuss, because the numbers have fallen, and quite significantly. And, of course, the SNP will not like this. They need their numbers, because they have a lot of overheads that they have to fulfil. But when times are hard, people look to cut, costs where they can. And if they say, I tell you what, I'd rather spend the money on feeding my children than, supporting the SNP, that's bound to happen. But it is significant that the big fall has occurred since Humza Yousaf became leader, because people realise that he's a failure, that he's made the wrong sort of choices, that he's aligning himself with the wrong people, and that going forward they no longer trust his ability to lead. After all, he's not a leader at all, really, is he? He's a seat warmer for Kate Forbes. And so the party is going to struggle. And during this struggle, we will laugh. We will dance a little jig of joy. And we will watch the SNP, the once mighty SNP, fade away, a shadow of its former self, as more and more people realise how bad it is. Let's take a look at the falling numbers and the reasons why. Here goes. Right, do please hit the subscribe button before we go any further. Let's get that up there. Hit that subscribe button. Let's build the channel, because it does massively help. And it helps us bring stories like this that I know will please you. So, if anything's going to hit that button today, it's going to be this story. Because the SNP are in crisis as party loses thousands of members amid Humza Yousaf's leadership. The Nationalist Party announced at a meeting last month that they had 69,235 paid-up members, a huge drop from the 125,000 heyday in 2019 when Nicola Sturgeon reigned supreme. That is, such a drop. And that's a lot of money. Now, some of them are only going to be paying £2 a month, some pay £5, some pay £10, and so forth. But, you've got to be looking somewhere in the region of £10,000 a month not coming through the doors. That's a lot of salaries. That's a lot of building rent. That's a lot of car payments. They've got to find that money from somewhere. And here's the kicker. Should the general election be as bad as they think, and they're down to, say, 17 people, that's a lot of money, because the MPs have to pay a proportion of their income to the party, so all that's gone. But also, they lose the short money from Westminster. All that's gone. All of a sudden, all those overheads, nothing coming in, and they've got no corporate sponsorship at the moment, because nobody wants to touch them with a barge pole. One, they're seen as losers now. Secondly, they're seen as being a bit dodgy on the legal front with so many police investigations. No corporate entity wants to sort of attach themselves to someone who might be going down for some serious crimes, so they're all holding their distance. So without that corporate money coming in, they're reliant on the members and the parliamentary money. It's not enough, and it won't be enough come the next election. And that is before you get the tactical voting. And with a bit of that, you could get them down at Westminster to single figures. Within weeks, the SNP will be bankrupt. They will no longer exist as a party. And if they are all sitting as independents at Holyrood, that means whoever's in second can take over and form a government, because there's no party. They'll be the biggest party, who I think will be the Tories. My God, you could, theoretically, for a very short time at least, until the next election, have a Scottish Parliament led by the Tories. It almost beggars belief. It's stunning, isn't it? But that's what the position is. That would be the final humiliation. It's almost worth doing, isn't it? Anyway, the SNP have lost thousands of members in just 6 months, with membership figures plummeting to almost half of its 2019 peak. It's been revealed. The news is another blow to Humza Yousaf's leadership, as it has lurched from crisis to crisis, taking over from Nicola Sturgeon in March last year, and still lurching. There's more to come. It's not over yet. They've still got all these court cases and all these police investigations going through. You don't know where this is going to end. Despite nationalists on social media claiming that numbers have risen since the bitter leadership contest, this has been proven to be untrue because they are all liars. Never believe a word from the SNP. Last month it was revealed by the party's national secretary that there were 69,235 paid up members at the end of December, which is a huge decrease on the 125,000 claimed back in 2019. And of course it was more than, it's less than the ones that were claimed at the time of Peter Murrell, which caused him to go, of course. This comes at a time of turmoil for the SNP, as an ongoing police investigation still hangs over its head. Several police investigations. And Yousaf is also proving to be an unpopular First Minister with a poor satisfaction rating among Scots and also, strangely, among his own party. Even his own party now are seeing him as a liability. It's time he went. He's also bracing for a heavy Westminster losses amid this fall in support. It's almost worth bringing on the election early just to see how bad it can get for the SNP in Scotland, and it will undoubtedly be bad. A row erupted about membership figures during the leadership contest to succeed Miss Sturgeon in spring 2023, with the party initially refusing to publish them. That was when Murray Foote lost his job. I've just seen his name come up there because they said that there was a lot more than there were. Let's put it that way. Chief Executive Peter Murrell and head spin doctor Murray Foote disputed claims that 30,000 members had left following a report in the Sunday Mail, and it turns out that over 30,000 had indeed left. When they were finally published, it was revealed the reports were accurate, as the total figure had declined to just under 72,190. The scandal caused the resignation of both Mr Murrell and Mr Foote, although the latter later rejoined as its chief executive and took over from Murrell's old job. So a man who has failed and who lied is now the chief executive of a party. Why am I not surprised that a liar is now the chief executive of the SNP? They have form, don't they? Anyway, new stats show a fall in membership even further for the Nationalists, although the party has still got the most members in Scottish politics. The figures were disclosed by the SNP's National Secretary during a meeting of its ruling National Executive Committee last month. But they can be bankrupted. They are not, on secure ground. They're already 800,000 in the hole, according to the last set of published accounts. And so it's going to be even more now. And they have an election to fight, and possibly two. And so it's going to cost them even more. They don't have the money. It's cracking, isn't it? We can bankrupt these buggers. According to Holyrood magazine, NEC members also agreed not to select a replacement for the party's former president, Mike Russell, who left the honorary role at the start of December to become the new chair of the Scottish Land Commission. This appointment was greeted with anger among rivals, as it's meant to be an unbiased advisor. But it won't be if he's the chief of the advisory team, is it? Because nothing in Scotland is ever clean and clear and honest and open and transparent, despite whatever the SNP say, because they're all crooks. But yeah, that's it. So falling numbers. And it's not surprising. But what it means is they can be bankrupted very easy. The next general election is going to cause a major headache because they are now totally reliant on the monies coming from Westminster. And that is how we break them. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how we destroy the SNP. Whoever it is, vote them out. Don't care. If it's not your party, it doesn't matter. Vote out. If you're in an SNP held seat, vote out who's ever there. Get them out. One vote only. One election only. Get them out. Bankrupt the party. And they will never exist again. They're done. A busted flush. And that will be the final failure of Humza Yousaf. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I'm coming up. It's very refreshing to see that increasing numbers of people who are members of the SNP are seeing what they are and are deciding that they don't want to be members of the SNP anymore. And it will be an avalanche effect, and more and more. And as people see the numbers shrink and shrink and shrink, those who are members will suddenly think, maybe we are wrong. You're still going to get your hardcore loons, of course. But the more moderates out there will probably think, maybe it is time. Maybe they are wrong. Maybe other people might have a point. Especially as they see in their pay packet shrink because of the taxes, the cost of the beer going up because of the minimum unit of pricing of alcohol, and their whole community is falling apart because the local authority don't have money to invest because the SNP aren't giving them it. And then they'll suddenly think, oh, we've done this to ourselves. And then they'll leave, and there'll be even fewer members, and so forth. It becomes a vicious circle. But we've got to encourage it. So there we go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button. Like I say, massively, massively important. Spread the word. Grow the channel. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.